Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's an update on the Life Miniatures Bust of the Few. As you guys know by now, I'm doing it as a tribute to my pup Barkley, who passed away 2 years ago, aged 10. I miss him a lot. I've still got Archie somewhere around here. He's bound to start barking in a minute, but Archie always follows my wife around, and Barkley was my particular little pal. He never left my side. Anyway, this is a tribute to that little man because it's got a Cocker Spaniel over the pilot's arm, and also it's a really nice bust, I've got to say. So, sliding away again. What have we got done progress-wise? Well, the jacket, I've been adding a load of texture to that. So what texture is like lots of like micro dots. Not necessarily always that. There's different textures. Let me just hold this. The Bible of painting up. Mr. Kirill Konaev's backed by AK, or AK's book written by Kirill Konaev, and with a load of other top painters, friends of his, that he's got into use some of their artwork as well to demonstrate different techniques. Some that I'd already was starting to take on board, mainly through watching guys like Kirill's work, just deconstructing busts that they paint and things like that. But that book really is invaluable. It's not cheap. It's around £70, but it's got to be good for me to spend that money on a book or on anything for that matter. But yeah, so texturing, I'll be showing you in a minute. You can use different lines to show canvas and things like that. So this guy's life jacket, as I say, it's the early period of the Second World War, so he's not got the yellow Mae West for obviously identification in the water. It's still a green one, or in this case a very faded green. And from what my own research is, obviously the newer they were issued from the stores, the darker green way that they are. I've gone for a darker green than that one, only because I thought it was a nice, obviously green and blue on the colour wheel. Looking at it, there's a tenuous on the colour wheel closeness to each other, so it tends to look decent on the figure. That's what I'm saying anyway. But yeah, so mine's a newer issue rather than a more faded one. So yeah, I've done different. So I've been painting the life jacket, painting the jacket. I still haven't done I keep using this as the example rather than keep holding the bust up. The rank insignia on the Royal Air Force is like a tape. I mean, they do have, obviously in modern day now, they have the shoulder dooblies as well, or even hanging off the jackets. But that's the one that they've got on there. I don't know if they call them their blues or whatever, but whatever that's called, the jacket anyway, for officers. So I've still got to do that, but that's coming. I won't be painting on it tonight probably. I've got too much other stuff to paint tonight, commission wise, but I'll be doing that tomorrow night. So that'll be that'll be starting to roll along now. I've done a good segment on the gloves as well last night. I've still got a bit more work to do on that yet. I still have to send off. If I don't send off for this lead wire soon, it's the half the bust is going to be, or 2/3 of the bust will be done without me doing it. But as I've said to you guys, you do get that cord there is quite thick resin, and I have tried heating it up, but I wasn't really getting much benefit from it. So I've decided to probably go for the lead wire, solder wire, something like that. And the usual rule of you never have any. I've got very thin lead wire. I've got very fat solder wire, but nothing of that diameter. So I've got to send off for that. I'm thinking because it will conform better when it's pressed against the figure. Also, this I've only just noticed it last night. They show this leather pull tab here to tighten up the goggles or whatever, or is it goggles? Or it could actually be the back of the flying helmet, but I left that sticking out because I've just seen it on there. Well, obviously the guy the artist has it's quite a floppy piece of leather, has conformed it to the helmet, which I haven't done. So I've got to put some heat on that later on in the next couple of days before I start painting the flying helmet in the face and all that, and just try and get that conform. I thought it looked a bit odd just stuck out like that. I don't wear flying helmets, so how would I know? So yeah, it's some nice bit of progress. I'm only doing it hour and a half a night, indisposed with everything else. I've got obviously my paying work, my commission war games figures, historical war games figures. I'm also building a Focke-Wulf 190 and 172 scale that was going to be painted today, and then I realised I hadn't cut 3 or 4 bits out and I hadn't done something to the canopy. It needs extra armour glass on the particular one that I'm doing. So rather than try and rush everything, I've done all that and prepped it all up ready for tomorrow's painting. So you should get a video of that pretty soon. Anyway, join me at the bench and we'll have a look at the progress I've made. Right guys, we're down at the bench. Here's the bust. Let me get the readers on. Although I've got that many fingerprints over them, I can't see what I'm doing. Let's try and find something non-invasive and damaging to point with. I was going to pick up a scalpel then. It's not a good idea. The blue is opening to everybody's interpretation. There'll be a load of people that say, "Oh, it's not good, the right colour and whatever." I'm happy with it. I was fighting what the colour I wanted. The guy that's painted the bust itself for the artwork, it was just a bit too light for my own taste. And again, this is just whether you're figure painting, steady, stand fast, the front rank. Whenever you're painting figures, whether it's ball games figures, display figures like this, or busts, whether you're building a kit, it really is your interpretation of something. There's nobody can shoot you down for it. If your interpretation of this guy's wearing a pink uniform, yes, it's obviously not going to be historical correct, but that's up to you. As long as you're not doing it just to get people ragging on you, but it's entirely up to you. That's your figure, so go with how you interpret something. The rule of Gav. Right, I'll keep doing this. I'm only because of the light this time I was bringing it closer to the camera. So let's have a look at the gloves. I was working on those last night. As you can still see, it's quite patchy. I've been putting some texture in there. I've still got some more darks. There we go, there's a pointy stick. Maybe some more darks to go in places. I want to keep these fairly in shadow, because there will be. The jumper there is way too bright. I'll have to go down a bit, but and the same here to a degree. Obviously it's got more light hitting it, so there's a bit more work to go on all of it really. I only did that last night for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's amazing how time flies when you're doing stuff that you enjoy. But yeah, they're going to be fairly worn leather gauntlets. And there's the jacket. There's a life jacket with textures done. See, I've done lines and the odd bit of hatching, crisscrossing, mainly lines going, trying to keep them the same way really, but just to show some texture to it. Texture's a thing people either like or they don't. It's some people would prefer a lot more. Now, bearing in mind I'm really quite new to all this, so my texturing is not going to be anywhere near these professional box art painters. That one's got a bit of texture in it, but on the whole it's fairly muted. I've gone fairly heavy with mine. It's like what Kirill Kanaev says in the book, you've got to start somewhere. If you're going to texture and just you'll find your own way, how much you want to, how in your face it is and how subtle it is, texture always looks slightly better from a slight distance, which is what you'd view. Obviously the camera's right up close to this, so it's going to look a bit more in your face than it probably is. Now what I did with this one, so let's set her back. Right, what I did with this one, just what I'm remembering, is I put a bit of just the Vallejo model grey blue, I believe that is. Yeah, grey blue. In with that Canterbury blue or Canterbury blue with the from scale 75. You can mix them up, not a problem. And I put some of that in just to get. I wanted that I was getting too much of a bluey green look, and I just needed to lighten it up. There still will be places. Now the pop's got to go over his shoulder over here. I've tried him a couple of times, and I've just been going more on the box art where the shadows are, but that's going to have to be worked around slightly yet, including the vest and even maybe the well, it looks like with the pup on there that a lot of this is going to be covered. I can't exactly remember now when I put him over where it actually goes, but somewhere around here. But there'll be maybe more shadow areas is what I'm trying to say in certain places. So yeah, that's our progress. There's a while to go yet. As I say, there's probably, I'm hoping Thursday night I might start a bit earlier. That's why, by the way, that's a lot patchier there in dark, because the pop will be over his shoulder there, so that's why there's not as much attention gone into that. What I was going to say was, yeah, Thursday night I'm hoping to get these completed and the rank tabs, as I call them, done. And I think that would probably be as much as I'd be able to achieve in that evening. And then it's on to, I want to obviously do the cuff as well. I just need to do a slight bit of texturing, highlighting on the cuff. And then it's on to the face itself. I'll paint this off like on this bung. I'll be painting him on there rather than on the torso. Just because this is quite complicated shapes, and obviously to get into, and that's our tab there that I'm going to see if I can heat up. I mean, I could just snap it off. It's on, or well, not snap it off, but I've got Zapper. I've got this stuff for debonding. I could just remove it, but I think I'm going to just see if I can put a heater on it, a hairdryer on it, and then just see if I can fold that round. And I'll keep gently folding it and then keep applying the head before I do any painting, just to see where it'll sit on there. But yeah, it's coming together quite nicely. As I say, I've got to get those wires need to be done. Back in the day, as you guys know, there's our wires hanging down there. They were covered in like a material rather than like a rubber coating. And there's our yellow and black tube, or more heavier duty cable. I don't know if that's to the oxygen or if it's just the if it's a speaking cable. I'm not 100% sure, but as I say, I'm probably going down the road. I might still try and heat that up one more time, but I wasn't very impressed on how I could get it with my skills, get it to conform. So I still think it might be easier just to put some lead wire. There's like a, hang on, here we go back again with that knocking me must over. There's like a little attachment piece that's moulded on, and I'd cut that off and drill it and attach the lead wire, and obviously then it just hangs free then. But yeah, it's I've really enjoyed that. I've put it off for a year and a half. Is it 2 years? No, not 2 years, because Barclay's past 2, so probably about a year or so. When I saw this, I kept saying to myself, I want that one, because he's got the Cocker Spaniel over his shoulder. But I just didn't think I could do it justice, and I'm not necessarily doing it justice now. But it's just turned out to be very enjoyable. I've just enjoyed the subject itself. I mean, this is the second, but I'm not going to start becoming a fanboy just doing pilot busts, because if you remember, I've done the Soviet pilot bust as well. It's just happens that they both have to be pilots. I've got a couple of ideas for another bust when this is completed. I won't be doing the Northern Ireland one yet, but I've got my eye on another couple, and I'll pick between 2 or 3. Just pick the one. So guys, as I say, don't be put off that this one's quite complicated. If you are fancying having a go, it really is. It's just like everything. It's how much I won't say effort so much, but more, you know, how much time you spend doing it, you will get better. Yes, this is the bloke who can't build tank tracks, we know, but even that I will, hook or by crook, I will build tank tracks, and my tanks then will look okay. And aircraft seam lines. All right then, aircraft. Let's throw Gav right in there. Aircraft seam lines as well. They'll get better. So yeah, it's just how much you're willing to put in. You know, it doesn't help that, I mean, a decent bus like, I mean, this one was £50, but it's because there's a lot more resin involved in this. You've got the poppers and stuff as well. You know, but you can get some nice, really nice busts. For, you know, around £30-35, you know, whether historical or fantasy, sci-fi, but you know, they're brilliant to put in the background, and maybe even if you don't want to do it every night, just, you know, a couple of 3 nights a week, just for an hour or two, paint a bit. Even if that blue jacket takes you a month to paint, it doesn't hurt anything, does it? It's just enjoyable. Right, guys, you look after yourselves. I just want to get another update on this. As I say, I am just trying to, rather than rush, not so much rush at it, but take 2 jumps ahead and then video it. I wanted to show you guys how it progresses. So just to reiterate, I've done because I don't think I said, the gloves and the life jacket. I've done like I showed you with the jacket. So we put shadows in, we put highlights then on the highest areas, and then I've put mid-tones, as I would call them, joining up the dots more or less. So joining you know, very top highlight colours to your darkest shadow colours, and then you can glaze in a bit more. What I've done though, rather than just going into a glaze straight away, I put these texture lines in and a few dots wherever I want to, and then do a bit of glazing in to get things to you know, merge in a bit with themselves. So that was it. Then something else had gone into my head and it's gone out just as quick. Oh, that was it, yeah. I have got to do, which is, let me just move this away because I know I'm going to knock him over. On here, just about to see the writing. There's my dirty thumbnail, but he's put some writing on there. I'll show you it again on there. I've shown you it before, but obviously you haven't got to replicate all that because most of it's covered, but you will have to be like the Artbox painter's done. You know, there's bits you're going to have to replicate. I've thought what I'd probably do is, I mean, obviously this would be stenciled on normally. I haven't got any stencils or anything, so I'm going to put a piece of tape down, little 5mm, 6mm Tamiya tape, whatever it is, 3mm, and just as a line to work down to, and with the really watered down paint, so it you know, I don't want it standing out all black and dark. I will attempt to put a few letterings on there just by freehand. That's one thing that might really stuff it up if I can't get, I need to really make these letters look like stencils, so it'll be interesting that. Wish me luck on that one. There you go. Right guys, I will depart now. Look after yourselves, keep painting, keep modelling, and we'll see each other very soon on another video.